You're being seen.
I guess we're streaming to Retrologic's YouTube as well. I thought I turned it off. That's all right though.
Well, I mean, we normally stream on Topic Retro is the thing for the Retrologic podcast anyway.
Yeah, I usually do
The
all of
show
them for
is
Retrologic, but for this show, I usually turn the Retrologic one off. But it doesn't
and
matter.
properly speaking, you should be the Retrologic podcast should only go to the Retrologic one because
Yes,
Retrologic has a Twitch technically.
yes,
Have you
we
still
have
haven't gotten into the Retrologic pit
a
Twitch?
no, and I'd only because I've never really messed with the Retrologic Twitch. I know Sam uses it, but I've always had my own channel for this that I very seldomly ever used. But it did exist, so that's why I had that.
One of these days we'll straighten things up.
We'll get
I
there.
just feel like there's a lot of muddling and mixing
There
between
is.
the on topic and Retrologic.
Well, that's what happens when it's so tightly together. It could be either or. But anyway, I think it's just us tonight.
All right.
Which
I
is kind of
asked,
crazy because
yeah, I kind of thought that we would get somebody else, um, but I did not see anyone.
not even the only people who got all the stars technically.
No, I believe was it Galacticoopa that also.
Yeah, they don't really like doing these live things. So
That's totally fine.
Right.
We will definitely mention them. It sounds like uh, it's going to be you three in the pot for the highest stars.
here's hoping.
And then let's see.
Well, the only way no one could overtake
No.
would be.
Just saying, here's hoping I win.
Ah, yes.
I mean, I did ask, so I don't feel as bad if it's just us.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't want to feel bad about it. Just,
I had Bruce did submit a single star, so.
What's the
and I think Tim.
We should acknowledge. I do. Yeah, I do. We should acknowledge all the people that submitted.
I don't think there's that many. I think it's you guys and Chris so far. That's it. Which is funny because, like I
really,
said,
I thought there was more.
I think Tim is the one that requested that we do this in the first place.
Well, it was voted on.
Well, yeah, but Tim was the one that gave me the idea because he was saying, "Hey, I'd really like to play Mario Galaxy again." And then it made me think. I was like, "Man, I never even asked if anybody had the collection." And then that's what's got that started. Yeah, I only see Galacticoopa was first, and then let's see. Solo submitted a. I forgot about Solo. He did submit a 75-star run. He beat the game with Mario.
Respect to me.
And then Chris submitted a 3-star. So I guess he had 2 more stars than what I initially thought. And then
For this public chat, that's the chat.
yes, public chat is the chat. Oh, well, there's the third person is watching at least. They got all the stars. So, and then yeah, just you two. So there wasn't that many. I expected. I mean, there is still technically 3 days left of the challenge to get your stars in. So
That's true.
see a few more.
We're
But I kinda
verified
figured
nothing happens if I enter stuff in the public chat.
Nothing
Doesn't show up
happens.
anywhere. If I type in the public chat, you see I've typed here.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I guess
go
I don't
in
even
the-
know if you see it.
I mean, I
Any
can't.
of the feeds. Well, I checked all 3 feeds. It doesn't go to any of them. I was just testing.
Okay, yeah, no, it just stays inside here for us if you type something in there. This just pulls the chat from the other places. Oh man, you guys are gonna have to keep me awake tonight. I'm tired.
Don't worry, I tend to be very loud and talkative.
That's just what I need.
Just what I needed.
All right. So, like I said, I didn't bring in the music to play here, so we'll just kind of leave like a little bit of a pause in between moving between sections so I can add the music in later.
You don't want me to just sing my best impression of Galaxy songs?
I mean, you can you can try it if you want. It doesn't matter to me because I'll leave a little bit of silence and then I can just continue when you're done. And then I can make 2 versions of the audio podcast, one with you and then one with the actual music.
Yeah. I need to know what song you were thinking of.
Oh, you could do any of them, any of the ones you want. Because I usually just kind of randomly grab music. The only time I ever have something I'm really after is if we've mentioned a particular track.
Right.
Then I'll go in and find it and add it. But in this case, it could be anything. You can sing the main theme.
Then it kind of smooths out a bit, and it's pretty ambient for a bit after that.
Yep. A lot of little beats in there.
Actually, very short because
Yeah. Did you guys have anything? Oh, you guys did put some more notes in. Okay.
I put notes in. As Zion wants to do.
Oh, you brought I forgot there is probably
I didn't put in comments.
Story, right? Or a little bit.
Yeah, but so I didn't replace your story this time because the manual, the manual always gives you the start to the story, but it never finishes it because it wants you to play the game.
Okay.
So I left your summary in there. Although in general, I feel like, we can just talk about the story. I'm not sure if we need the specific, or we could recount it more on the fly. I feel more pressure to put the official manual one in because that's official text or paratext.
It's all right. All right. Well, because a lot of this stuff is just stuff I pulled in for us to talk about. It's not necessarily a must stick to or anything. But all right.
I'm also planning on sharing my screen when it comes to the manual portion.
Okay, that's fine.
Because I have the manual up and ready.
If you guys are ready, we can get started.
I'm ready.
All right. Let's get going.
I'm ready.
On Topic Retro. This is episode 58. I'm John Cummins, and tonight I have a couple of special guests joining me. I have Philip Paulson and
Oh, that's
Savannah
me.
the Hyena Queen,
Hello.
and we are talking Super Mario Galaxy. This was the Retro Rewind game for this last month, and just so happened to have two of the three highest scoring star collecting uh, potential winners of the contest with me tonight, and we're only missing one, but I believe he's in chat, so uh, we kind of have everybody here. There,
All
there
in
are
this together.
there are a few other submissions, and we can talk to them here in a bit. But how are you guys doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm excited
Feels pretty
to.
good.
I'm excited to talk about this game.
Awesome. And both of you guys have very like a pretty good experience. You've played this before and recently, so we ought to have a good look at both past and present experiences with this game.
Well, I'd love to go first if we're moving on to experiences.
Yeah, that works.
All right. So this Super Mario Galaxy was basically my first platformer game. Back a long time ago, we got the Wii, and we got a couple of games. We got Mario Kart Wii, and we got Super Mario Galaxy. So it's a game that I have had basically since I started playing video games, and even just back in that day, just watching my dad play video games. But I quickly began to play it. I love this game. It's just, it means so much to me. So over the years, I racked up stars, ended up getting 120 stars with Mario and beating the game with Luigi, but I never actually finished it. And over the years, I've been going back to the game periodically, but I never actually truly 100%ed it before now. And so I'm really glad to have gotten that experience. Speaking of those other experiences, back in, was it 2020 or 2021, the 3D All-Stars collection released.
Yep.
And we got that, and I was super excited to play it, because, again, one of my favorite older games, Super Mario Galaxy, was coming to the Switch, and I was like, this is awesome. So I remember booting it up for the first time and being blown away by how good the game looked on Switch. It looked exactly like how I thought it looked as a kid.
Yeah. I was trying to remember. I think it was either, like you said, 20 or 21, because it would have been the 35th anniversary of Nintendo, or of Mario, and because it kind of came alongside Mario 35. But I can't remember if
2020.
Was it 2020? Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking they were celebrating on the Japanese date, because, well, I guess we got it also in '85, the very tail end. I always think of it like Zelda, like an '86 game, but it is an '85 game, I guess. Anyway, you could continue. I didn't mean to break you up.
Yeah, so it's, I also just think it works very well on the Switch. Obviously, it was built for the Wii and the pointer controls, but aside from a bit of pointer adjusting, I think it actually plays very well in the Switch version. And so I, at this point, actually have more experience with the Switch 3D All-Stars version than the original Wii version. It is my go-to way to play the game.
Yeah, it definitely feels slightly different, but I think they make it work, and it feels it's different, but it's not worse. Like I feel like they both have their feeling, but they both feel right.
Hmm.
So I think it's something definitely, uh, as somebody that maybe hasn't played the new play style and is maybe worried about how it plays, it doesn't take very long, and it kind of feels, uh, you get used to it very quickly, especially even just using the Pro controller. I've
It's
sometimes,
honestly basically the only Switch game that can get me to actually use two Joy-Cons separated,
yeah, I Odyssey
which
felt
is
pretty
really
good.
funny because it's a Wii game.
It is, yes, that is funny. I mean, it's essentially going back to what the Wii was, using a mote and a nunchuck. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
Odyssey also has a really good feel with two uh, Joy-Con as well, because you can kind of do the rolling motion by flicking both Joy-Con. It was just a different.
Well, I think the difference.
Oh, go ahead, Flighty.
I was gonna say the difference, like Odyssey, yeah, but like with Galaxy, it's like I know this is how it's supposed to be, and I want to try and replicate that. With Odyssey, it's like I know I could be doing this, but I leave that kind of play to like the speedrunners and the people that are more optimal at the game than I am. It's easy to ignore and just choose the control style I'm
Yeah.
use most Twitch streams for. Also, want to say hi, Chris HL94. I see you in chat. Oh, and hi, Spider Shan. Uh,
Oh,
welcome.
we got people here. I see that. But yeah, I mean, I played this most recently with the Pro controller like 100%. I didn't use any of the Joy Cons, and I didn't have any issues using it to navigate the cursor to collect the star bits or anything. Like it all felt really natural, even using one controller with two hands to kind of steer it around as I was. Because I mean, a lot of the star bit collecting isn't about being precise. It's kind of like just moving the cursor around to grab what you can whenever
Hmm.
it's on screen. So it's not a that big of a deal. Like it works. So
And that's oh, sorry. Is that how do you control it with the Pro Controller again?
I think you
uh
just tilt it,
yeah, it's just
and
gyro.
yeah.
Oh,
So it kind of
I
acts like as if the
yeah.
end of the controller is where your focus is at on the screen.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah. What else do you got, Savannah? Before we moved over to Philip.
I think that's most of it. I just have okay. I have a lot of experiences and memories of this game. A lot of just the random dialogue is still like in jokes in my family. There's this one penguin in the Beach Ball Galaxy who's like holding a star bit or something. And he's like, "So, chunks, huh?" And I just my family repeats that often.
Oh,
My regular greeting to my sibling is saying, "Hey," like the signs do when you talk to
yell
them.
at you. Yep, that is right.
Forgot about the hay until you
Every
said that.
every one of them. Hey, and
Hey.
it's all capital. Flicey, what do you got for us? Would you? How do you feel about this game?
I I like it. It's a pretty good video game. So like Savannah, I can actually trace my I could trace this back to like very close to my first video games, not quite as close because I started with the Wii and we started with just having shovelware. Then we got New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and that's when I was like, oh, video games are actually really. I always thought they were cool, but then I first got a New Super Mario Bros. Wii. That was like the first real video game. Because otherwise we had shovelware and sushi go around. Uh,
Good old sushi
but
go around.
uh, there's that. I love Sushi Go Round. And then I was like, well, I love Mario, New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I want to get more Mario. So we actually got Super Mario Galaxy 2. And so for a while that was my Galaxy game. So very similar. I found a lot of love for Super Mario Galaxy 2. But of course, when I talk about Galaxy 2, although I will say, because it's the same engine, I would say I remember distinctly realizing I remember thinking about how Super Mario Galaxy 2 and New Super Mario Bros. Wii were different, and not really having the words to articulate the difference, which was the dimensions. Like, I remember being too young to have the vocabulary in my mind to articulate that it was like how I would today. Like, oh, it's one's 2D, one's 3D. So that's an interesting kind of moment. But Super Mario Galaxy comes because there's a natural question when you have Galaxy 2 is what's the first one? And so I remember for a while I just didn't have it, and I would rent it out. One time I got it from the library, and I do remember playing through a bit of it then. And then I thought that the data was on the disc. I think I've mentioned this in the community couch before. I thought the data was on the disc, so I was like, oh, I want to, I didn't want to mess it up for the next person. So I deleted my file on the first one, so that the next person could play it, which obviously didn't do anything. Oh shoot, mic's not high. I mean, that can obviously be fixed a little bit in post, but I can also, well, to a lesser extent, but I'll do, well, how's that? Oh, dang it. Okay, let's drop that. Drop my mouse. Is that better? I can also just be closer to the mic. Where was I?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Oh.
Yeah. I might have been too far away from my mic earlier.
Okay, so for a while it was a game I got at the library, and it was kind of like that made it very mysterious, I had played a little bit. I remember searching in Mario Galaxy 2 because I wanted to replay that first Bowser level where it starts with that really weird kind of upside down sequence where you're just walking along a road and it's weird and twisty. And I remember not finding it because I'd misremembered and it was in Galaxy 1. And especially this, like, a lot is made, a lot of people would talk about the difference between Galaxy 1 and 2 and the atmosphere. And there's debate over how much of a difference there actually is. But like, I definitely, that probably also, the fact that it's a more, it starts off with the Gateway Galaxy, such a strong impression of mysteriousness. And with that being one of the few experiences I had with the game, it being in low supply, because I can't just play it, because I had rented it from the library like once. And so it got very mysterious in my head. And plus, the vibes of the observatory, and I think I probably unlocked at least one library book, so it kind of built up as a kind of mysterious game inside of my head, which is interesting. Eventually, I would actually get it. I'm pretty sure I completed it. I'm not sure. It's hard to separate my memory. Like, I watched a lot of Let's Plays. I grew up with the internet, I watched Let's Plays of my favorite games. I don't know for sure if I beat it. I'm pretty sure. I'm less sure on Galaxy 2. I'm pretty sure I actually 100% of Galaxy 1, because I remember the process of being excited to figure out what would happen next. I was excited to figure out what happened when you got 120 stars. And then I was excited to figure out what happened when you got 120 stars again as Luigi. So I'm pretty sure I did 100% it. But it was, and so I did eventually do that. And then I got Super Mario 3D All-Stars when it came out. Mostly, I got it because scalpers had bought a lot of them because there was supposed to be a limited physical release. And then it turns out that when Nintendo said a limited physical release, they meant a limited physical release, but we'll be releasing it continuously for the limited time window. And so prices dropped, and I got it below retail price, while prices were really low before they eventually went back up again.
I remember
Yeah,
seeing it like years later.
and so I really got the jump on scalpers.
You did, and
I think officially, it.
I think it was like supposed to be 6 months, wasn't it?
Sorry, I think it was 6 months, but I think because of how flooded the market got, I think that like it just got overproduced, and then not a lot of people bought it. So I think it sat on store shelves for longer. But I also think that because of the scalping, I think it was only produced for those 6 months though.
Well, and I think Nintendo had a pretty high supply of 3D All Stars because they knew it was going to be big, but they were also trying to combat scalping because it was a limited run of the game. So I think it was a little bit of both. But then whenever you know scalpers realized that the game was readily available, I mean, I don't know how many. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I'm willing to bet that it sold 10 million copies. Something pretty crazy for that time period.
Yeah, and I definitely remember taking a lot of joy out of buying it below value for a scalper because I was like, haha, you messed up. Spreadshirt says that your mic's still quiet. John?
That's what I'm checking to see. It doesn't show that it's quiet on the thing. Are you guys hearing me really quietly?
I mean, you guys both sound great. Both sound good to me.
I'm trying to see here. Yeah,
I don't know if it mixes differently when it actually goes out.
Yeah, I don't know how to make it any louder. I'm all the way up on my soundboard, and it says it is going through fine. I wonder if Shannon's headset's down a little low.
Shannon just automatically tunes you out a little bit.
It could be. I don't know. I mean, this is how I'm usually set up, and I am going across. I feel like, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm up as high as I can go on my mic. So, if not, I'll have to figure that out later.
Yeah.
As long as you guys can hear me, I can always turn this up individually tracked later.
All right. Well, that's good. So back then, when I got 3D All Stars, I was mostly getting it to have it because despite how much I was making fun of the scalpers, I did still want it as a collectible. And so I only played like 6 stars or so on Mario Galaxy to test it out. I remember thinking it was actually surprisingly slow to start, which is not a problem I ran into on this run. But I remember thinking in the past that when I was testing it out, when I was first testing out 3D All Stars, I was like, oh, this is slower than I remember. And that's all I remember from actually having with All Stars. And then I played it here. This was, I think, the next time I played it.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it is just you, Shannon.
I'm not sure. We'll keep going and we'll see how it goes. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, we can't obsess over it. That's the end of my past experiences. Obviously, I'm assuming when we get to gameplay, we'll talk about. Because like Savannah didn't talk about this playthrough, so I wasn't sure if we were supposed to talk about this playthrough in our experiences.
I mean, we generally usually end up talking about the current playthrough whenever we're talking about the game.
I forgot.
Okay. And I mean, that's fine. I mean, I played this game for the first time when it released. I didn't even own a Wii yet. This came out when I was in college. And my buddy had a Wii, so I went over and I played it at his house. And I thought it was good and I enjoyed what I played, but it wasn't enough to make me go out and buy a Wii. I didn't buy one until much later. I was already married and I think it was somewhere around like 2008, 2009 when I first got my Wii, and I got Mario Galaxy and I got Mario Kart. So kind of the main games that you get when you first get your Wii. I mean, obviously Wii Sports comes with it. But I just remember it being a neat idea, but I wasn't really sold on it yet when I first played it. But after I got my own copy, I did go through and play the whole game. And it is fantastic. And then I did buy the 3D All Stars collection. I bought it physically to get the box, and then I also bought it digitally so I could have it day one. Uh, and Galaxy wasn't the game that I bought it for. I played uh, and beat Super Mario 64 the day that collection came out. Like I just went through, then got the 70 stars and went to the end. Um, but I did try Galaxy on the 3D collection, but just for a little bit, just to get the feel of it. And then I never actually went back and played through it. I didn't do that until the 1 and 2 release on the Switch. What was it, last year?
Mm-hmm.
And that was enough to make me go back. I was like, I'll go ahead and play them this time. So I went and I played. I didn't play them to completion like you guys did, but I played 1 and 2 back to back, and I got probably 100 stars on each game, just playing through them. So that's my most recent. And like I said, I played the Switch version strictly with the Pro controller all the way through, and I man, it feels good. Like I said, it's different. Anyone else that plays it using the Pro controller probably realizes too. Like it's different than playing with the Wiimote and nunchuck in your hand, but uh, the Pro controller does work, and you can still accomplish everything using it. You don't have to get the Joy Cons out. Using the gyro to collect the star bits feels just fine. There's not any issues there. Um, even like kind of shaking the Pro controller in order to activate the sling stars, all that works. I didn't have any issues. In fact, I think they moved it to a button. I believe it's the Y button maybe
Yeah,
that does it.
why?
Yeah. So I mean
Here's why.
they've streamlined the whole thing. So it's good.
I would say that I do still, maybe this is just nostalgia, but I really do like I do think that, if you're really one of those really high fidelity guys, I would still recommend, I still really like the Wii controls best with the Wii without having to recenter it. I feel like that is the most natural, but it's kind of like a really thin margin. It doesn't really matter. Like, like it's, arguably, if you really care about fidelity, you're going to notice the visual stuff more. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's just, again, I do think that I would give the slight advantage to the original Wii controls, but it's very slight, very much a hair's breadth.
Yeah, it wasn't enough to bother me.
You get
I don't have to play with the Wii controls. I was kind of worried at first at how it would feel, but once I started playing it with the Pro, it was fine.
you really get used to it quite quickly.
Yeah, I mean the Pro controller is just a really good controller anyway. I did the same thing with Skyward Sword. I was kind of worried that I was going to be missing something, but playing with the Pro controller felt just fine. But that's my experience with the game. Uh, we could take just a few seconds and then we'll move over to game discussion. I did bring for game discussion, I have the overview. We'll talk about the development. And then Flightsy uh, so kindly remembered to put
Got the
the
manual.
manual in there that I didn't put in here. So we do have that portion of it. And I did have my
I
little.
started all of these retro playthroughs with reading the manual.
That's right. I did bring the story in that we will attach to the little bit of story that they have in the manual. But first, we're going to start just with the release dates. This game did originally release on the Wii in Japan on November 1st, 2007. Then in North America on November 12th, 2007. Europe would get it on the 16th of November 2007, and Australia on the 29th of November 2007. And then, really, like a weird release is the NVIDIA Shield TV, which is just like I believe it's an Android tablet or designed off of I think there was also an Android tablet. This is like the TV version, but it's the same hardware, if I remember right, just without the screen. But this released in China on the 22nd of March in 2018. So this wasn't like
I vaguely remember hearing about that.
I remember when this happened, and I remember when it did, there was already kind of the mumblings of the Switch, would be getting it soon because uh, I don't know if you guys remember this, but the Switch's hardware set is using the same chipset as the NVIDIA Shield does. So there was a lot of uh, kind of predictions and thoughts floating around that if it's already coming to the Shield in China, surely it's on its way to the Switch because that just shows that the Switch can handle it without any issues processing wise. So
I don't believe. Sorry, I was just looking this up because you mentioned it. I believe the NVIDIA Shield TV is a add-on to a TV. I don't think it's a TV itself. I
no,
think
it's
it's
not
an
a
add-on.
TV.
So it is like a console. It looks like a console.
Well, yeah, it's like PlayStation TV or Apple TV. Like it's a little box, but similar to how PlayStation
Right.
TV is basically a Vita in console format, like without a screen. The Shield TV is basically the same as like the Shield tablet, just without a screen. Like the hardware is the same, the processor
And it
is
connects to the TV.
correct. Yeah, it just connects to the TV instead of being a tablet. Um,
Listen.
and then I don't have the release date for the 3D All Stars for the Switch, but the most recent release for the Switch that had Galaxy One and Two released worldwide on October 2nd of last year, 2025, which seems like a long time ago, but not really a long time ago. Like I remember
What
being
happened?
kind of worried that it wasn't going to sell through that well because it wasn't a Switch 2 game. And we were already kind of moving into the Switch 2. Uh, but I guess with its backwards compatibility, it wasn't as big of a deal. And I think it sold pretty well without having to be a Switch 2 game.
That makes sense.
I think, like you said, I can't remember what month it was, but the 3D All Stars did come out in 2020 on the Switch.
I think it was October or August, something, either one of those.
Yeah, I remember. I was thinking it was more summer timeline because I feel like that it was announced in the.
Well, I was in school when it was announced because I remember I was in my science classroom after a test looking at the Nintendo Direct thinking they're not going to do 3D All-Stars. That's a lie. Because people were rumoring it, and I'm like, no, that is 100% false. They would literally never do that. And then I watched the thing when I'm in again after a test in my chemistry class. I'm watching that, and then it's like, hey, 3D All Stars, and I'm like, holy.
Yeah, it looks like Galactic Koopa's got us in check. So it looks like it was September 18th of 2020.
September. Okay.
Which makes sense. This must have been announced in like the June Direct that we normally get because E3 was still a thing in 2020.
It was announced as in its own separate Mario 35th Direct.
Oh, okay.
Which again, I remember this like the back of my hands.
Yeah,
But
I guess they would have already been
I'm
doing
glad you're
more
covering that because
individual directs by then. Because I mean, that's still a relatively new.
I think I remember that
thing.
too.
I'll have to look back at that.
Because I definitely remember that's 35th anniversary. They definitely had a 35th anniversary direct.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's 35th anniversary, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was 35th.
Remember, it was the first one I noticed they had like a logo for it, like a special 35th logo.
Yeah, usually the other anniversaries are kind of like held to like console releases and stuff. Like they would have like the 25th anniversary DS or whatever. type stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of like big to do with logos and all that before then. I don't feel like.
I will say, I've spent some time now looking up stuff about the NVIDIA Shield.
Oh,
So the NVIDIA Shield originally was this handheld, and can I share my screen? You have to see this.
yeah.
I'm gonna share it. Can I share it with you? All right, good. Here we'll do the window. We'll do the Google window.
Whoa. There we go.
This is the NVIDIA Shield.
Oh yeah, there was like the
It is
little
like a controller that flips up.
Yep, I remember
And
that one too.
so like it's like a DS, but like with like a full on controller analog sticks.
I don't think that
Now,
one
this is
lasted very
NVIDIA
long.
Shield
Though.
eventually renamed to the eventually this would get renamed to the NVIDIA Shield Portable because they did come out with a tablet. They did come out with a tablet. So you are correct. But I just saw that image and I was like, well, I've got to show people the NVIDIA Shield.
I was going to say, like, I don't think the tablet had to be very close to that same time frame, but like, I remember the tablet way more than the controller. Like I had a Shield tablet at one point. I don't know where it's at now. It's probably can't even turn it on. It's so old.
I mean, you say that, but I would say that there's a decent shot that just no one had heard of it. Because it looks ridiculous, and I don't think anyone would have gotten it. So it's possible it just flew under the radar for a bunch of years.
Well, they said they didn't discontinue it until 2018, so which might coincide with the Shield TV release of Mario Galaxy.
Well, the tablet was released 20. Oh, it was just a year later.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember the little controller handheld one floating around for all that long. I got the tablet, which could also be. It had a mini HDMI out, so you could go to TV with it as well. So, the TV one kind of baffled me. I feel like they kind of missed the boat. I feel like the PlayStation TV and stuff was already out for a while. At that point in time. But anyway, this is an NVIDIA Shield show. We can have one of those later if you want, Flightsy.
Welcome to Off Topic Retro.
That is right.
I had to know. I've got the internet. I'm going to use it.
I know. All right, let's talk about the development. So just a little bit of a note that I pulled out of Wikipedia real quickly was that Super Mario Galaxy was developed by Nintendo EAD Tokyo to address accessibility challenges and the camera issues that alienated some players in previous 3D Mario titles, utilizing the concepts from Super Mario 128 tech demo, which I don't know if you guys would have even remembered or been old enough to even view the Mario 128 tech demo when it released. It's a crazy thing in its own. You'll have to go look at it.
Yeah, born in 2003. So
probably
also
right around
born in 2003.
That tech demo was probably like 2001 or 2000.
1997.
97. Whoa, it's even earlier. Okay. I was thinking it was closer to the release of the GameCube, but it was basically a GameCube tech demo.
No. Sorry, no. It was first used in 1997 as a code name for Mario 64 2, not the tech demo. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. No,
you're right. 2000. Space World 2000.
Yeah. So it was like a crazy demonstration of what the GameCube could do. It had like 128 different Marios running around all over the place, and one of them was clips. Like a clip of a bunch of Marios running around orbiting a sphere, which kind of gets really close to what Galaxy ends up being, not even 7 years later.
I've seen a lot of clips of that because anytime anyone talks about Pikmin history, they bring up a clip of that.
This is true. This is kind of where I feel like this is kind of the Pikmin beginnings as well, is them messing around with all these little Marios. So that's how we get Pikmin. And then the team introduced a spherical gravity-based gameplay, allowing players to navigate small planetoids and reducing confusion, while replacing precise 3D jumps with an accessible motion-controlled spin attack to balance accessibility with challenge. The developers incorporated a co-op pointer mode and reduced Mario's health to 3 hits, while increasing checkpoints and one-up mushrooms to maintain engagement for a wide audience. So Mario Galaxy does feel like it's way more accessible than Mario Sunshine. I will say that.
On that note, it is really accessible, but in the gameplay sense, I will note that there is an accessibility concern, what with the pointer being required for pretty much everything, for navigating menus and stuff. You cannot play the game if you can't point the remote at the screen. They thankfully remedied that in the newest release, the Switch. The native Switch ports. They thankfully remedied that, and you can use the stick for the menus. I just thought I'd bring that up. It
Yeah,
is,
I mean, that was an accessibility issue with the Wii in general. There wasn't a lot
yeah.
you could do without pointing with the Wii. I feel like a lot of the games used the Wiimote for menus.
Yeah, I mean they could have not used the Wiimote for menus to
Oh,
be
they could
fair,
have
but
100%, but they didn't.
but
They liked
yeah,
the idea of having you.
yeah.
They wanted the Wiimote to be like a TV remote, to feel natural
But I'm
for
glad you brought that up because I hadn't thought
anybody to
about that.
use. Uh, trying to get back.
Well, the original game doesn't have a map for spinning, so even so I find the spinning very natural, but it's one of my I've been using the control scheme to the second Mario game, but like you have to spin in all sorts of places, and I have to be like a flick, like a decently tricky to do flick.
It has to be a pretty good like shake of the remote in order for it to engage on the original game. But they did add the easiness of the game, or not the easiness. Adding all, like, there's a ton of one-ups. Like you just have like,
Oh,
unless you're just not very good at the game yet, you're gonna have probably 50 lives at one point pretty easily. They did kind of,
well,
if
so
you turn the game off though and turn it back on, you do lose those lives.
It's really weirdly balanced, I feel. I will also say that like I was playing as Luigi. I did all of Luigi in one day, and by the end of that run, I had maxed out the life count.
Oh, I guarantee it doesn't take very long once you're moving. If you're not dying,
it actually to get to all 99 lives, it did take to the final level.
I got
had to
80,
reset.
Yeah, I got 80 stars on one day, and I did max out before.
Oh, yeah. I think I maxed out the lives in like less than 50 stars. I just got it one up every.
Interesting.
You get one in every level almost. If you don't die, or two.
Well, it would have been 80 stars for. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. You're right. It would have been 79 stars for me. I guess 80 if you count the fact that replaying the final level, because it reset the life counter after I beat Bowser the first time. So it would have been around the same amount of stars, but it did take me the whole thing. Although I might not be as good as either of you.
I mean, they make the, like, I'm not saying I never got hit or anything, but like they make it really hard for you to die in the game. They also give you several opportunities to have 6 health pieces by getting the mushroom that gives you 6.
Mm-hmm.
So like there was lots of times where I was just running around with 6 health pieces.
You can die if you, for instance, keep trying this one jump because you can't take the like 2-second detour to not trying a long jump across a gap you're not supposed to long jump across, and you keep doing that over and over again. That can eat into your lives, because I definitely did that.
I don't think I had that issue.
Yeah. I really want to start talking about gameplay, but we should actually go through the manual first.
Yeah, we can hit the manual. That's not a big deal. You can start with the bits, and then
Yeah.
we can add the story in, and then come back to the rest of the manual. Does that sound good?
So we're not doing the story right now?
Well, I'm saying, do you want to? You could start with the prologue from the manual, and then you can drop down and read
Oh, yes,
the
that story.
rest of the story at the bottom, and then you can come back to the bits of the manual that you want to talk to.
I don't want to. I don't necessarily feel the need to read the story for the summary of the story because I'd like to read the bit in the manual because that's official
That's fine.
text. But we can talk about the story like thematically as a.
Yeah.
Well, I don't feel the need to read out the blurb, except for this. Except I do think someone should read out this prologue blurb. It doesn't have to be me.
You could read it.
Someone want to.
You brought it up.
All right. Prologue. Every 100 years, a huge comet flies by in the skies above the Mushroom Kingdom. One year, that comet filled the entire sky, and from it fell a stream of shooting stars. The toads scooped up the star bits and brought them to the castle, where they were reborn as a great power star. It was a happy time in the Mushroom Kingdom. Then, one night, Mario received a letter. Dear Mario, I'll be waiting for you at the castle on the night of the Star Festival. There's something I'd like to give you. From Peach. With invitation in hand, Mario headed off. With invitation in hand, Mario headed off to the castle just as the Star Festival was getting into full swing. Surrounded by toads gleefully trying to catch falling star bits, Mario was looking forward to the night's festivities. But then, something happened. It's not as dramatic as I can make, though.
I wonder what happened.
Gee, I sure do wonder.
Could be anything, actually.
Yeah. So
we could talk about story.
I was gonna say the story part of it. This is not really that much different from, this part of it's not that much different than any Mario game. Bowser shows up, kind of takes over the festivities. He does do something that I don't know that he's ever done previously, but he kind of like pulls the castle from the ground.
Paper Mario.
Paper Mario.
Yeah, I guess Paper Mario does kind of get into that. Is that the same universe though? Do we have a Mario timeline?
Technically, it is the Paper Mario series officially takes place in like a storybook universe. In at least it connects to the Mario and Luigi games, which I guess you could argue those aren't canon to the main Mario timeline either. But there's at least one piece of material where there's a real Mario and a Paper Mario and they meet.
Yes, that's acceptable. But yeah, this is a Mario game. The story's not like super crazy. You're basically after Bowser afterwards, and you catch him eventually. We don't have to go into all major parts of the story yet. Did you want to read bits of the manual, or how do you want to tackle the manual?
I mostly wanted to see if people wanted to discuss it and like show it off the show screen, like I did kind of last time.
Yeah.
Also, we'll get rid of that picture-in-picture thing. So yeah, we have so that one Luma that's by Rosalina is called Polari, so we know that from the manual. We have various descriptions.
That's an elderly Luma.
Something that I always forget.
Do they turn black when they get older, or is that
most trusted advisory?
I guess they are all kinds of different colors.
I would assume so because he's the only one with that design.
Yeah.
Well, because the young one is white. That's implied. So it's implied that they,
they
shift colors. They grow older.
They change colors, and then they become a crusty elderly Luma.
I suppose not a lot of them actually live that long. They're like a lot of them transform before that,
or whatever. Yeah.
wonder if that means
Yeah,
Polari is Rosalina's original Uma from the storybook.
it could be. This all, yeah.
Uh,
There's definitely some things that could probably be thought about in that. Oh, we got
so there
control.
is, it always astonished me, a whole section about how to enter the game. Press
Yeah,
A and then select
there
the
definitely needs
panel
to
and
be a
then
lot
press
more information.
start.
There's a one that says make sure
That's
you
kind of argue with the point of the manual.
look for
Sorry, you cut out a bit.
let's see
Hello?
here.
Yeah, I think when you share your screen, you get a little crackly.
Yeah, you might be using too much bandwidth there
Oh,
to share on your end.
okay. I do want to go through this. Uh, on their stuff, there's a lot of this. It's all the basic stuff to play the game. It's very, it's got a kind of light blue color scheme. It's got descriptions of a lot of the power ups except for the secret power up. It's got its own font as well. And it looks very nice. Although I will say everything here is a render. When we were looking at like the old Game Boy manuals, they would have drawings.
Yeah, I do miss
And
the
that kind of, I
hand
think, gave
drawn
it a special
artwork.
kind of charm. And these are all, yeah, these are all renders of official
Well,
renders.
yeah. After a while, that's just
More
kind of how
accurate.
what they all used. I do like
Still very, very
the
high
theme.
effort manual. Yeah.
All right,
Uh,
we
Interesting, more sky blue than deep space blue. But
for the listeners,
like, also I
we
should
just
mention, like,
we're looking at the manual. I know we weren't saying a whole lot about it at
I should
first.
mention,
Oh, go
and
ahead,
I
Fletchy.
should mention, all, like most manuals in this era, it has three languages: English, Spanish, and French. Which is definitely not the case for a lot of the older ones.
No, yeah.
I don't know if that started in the Wii. It might just only be a Wii thing because they didn't really have manuals in the Wii U era.
No, and with older games, you would get more printed manuals that had other languages. They were just in other regions. You didn't necessarily get them across the U.S. region because, like, you could get
Right.
a French Canadian manual for an NES game. They would be in all French, but
Right.
it got
But
better.
it's the
And
US that eventually was like, we should have some of the other languages said and
yeah,
spoken in the US.
which makes a lot more sense because there are definitely a lot of other languages other than English being spoke in the U.S. So it made sense. All right. We will
That's all I
take
had for the manual.
a few seconds to pause and then we'll move on to gameplay. So for gameplay, I kind of did the same thing. I kind of grabbed some, just some pieces, uh, which it looks like you've added some things in here too.
And I
Flightsy.
basically added the progression element because
Yeah.
yeah.
So I have here the core gameplay for Super Mario Galaxy is just features a 3D space exploration mechanic where players navigate Mario through levels called galaxies. Each galaxy is populated with planetoids and orbiting structures. They exert their own unique gravitational forces in a lot of cases, allowing Mario to walk upside down, uh, circumnavigate spherical surfaces, and leap across separate orbits. While the primary gameplay takes place in 3D, certain areas restrict movement to a 2D plane. Uh, the 2D thing is not real often, but it is kind of cool, and it is a little bit of a throwback whenever they do kind of put you into a 2D plane for sections of the levels, which is something you kind of see throughout the
This
series.
is the
Even
first
Mario
one.
Odyssey has like some 2D sections in the game that are kind of throwback, callback spots.
Is it
But there
something we
is,
see throughout? Like, or is it only Galaxy and Odyssey?
well, I mean,
3D
those are
World
all,
has a
Do they do it
couple.
in 3D games?
yeah, 3D World does.
Okay.
I believe there's also maybe some, there might be one in 3D Land. I can't remember.
There's a top-down one in 3D Land that's styled around like a Zelda dungeon.
Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
Oh.
They do this stuff periodically, as kind of like throwbacks to 2D era, because now everything's 3D for the most part, unless you're Metroid.
But it's not. It's not. It's not like that. They don't do it in Sunshine, right? Like this is the first time.
I don't. I'm probably not the best person to ask this because I haven't went all the way through Sunshine, so I don't know if I want to say that there's not one in there and then there be one in there.
I don't think there is.
That's kind of the hole in my Mario 3D Mario uh, experience. I've played it
I've
several times, but never to like finish. I usually get a
I've
little bit into it.
100%ed Sunshine. It was pain. It was fun, but it was also pain.
So no 2D sections in
It's very
Sunshine.
impressive.
And I don't think there was any Mario 64 either. So yeah, this would have been the first Mario game to have this, but it's a continued thing down the line. And talk.
Well, arguably, sorry.
I was gonna say Mario Galaxy does like the
No,
gravity stuff is really cool in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So like some of the levels where you're being kind of tossed around by gravity depicted by an arrow on the wall or whatever. Uh, like there's some of the levels where if you just even let the Mario sit after you've like leaped off, you basically just will do a circle around the room that you're in because the gravity's just pushing you through the room uh, in different directions. But there's some really cool stuff and some frustrating times whenever you're not trying to get or not wanting to go a certain direction and you really need to get to this platform and it's like sucking you across the place. But uh, they definitely do a good job at making you like feel good about solving a gravity puzzle whenever you're done, and I really enjoy that. And just the gravity between planets and things that are in the galaxies. Uh, if you get,
There are some small planets where you can just long jump and just repeatedly orbit around, and it's really fun.
this also creates like a really weird phenomenon with the controls where like every once in a while Mario will like fix himself to
Yeah.
the planet and he'll just run in circles
Yeah.
because it can't figure out what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Which is kind of annoying because then like you kind of have to break that, like stop for a minute, move in the opposite direction or jump or something to get it to break loose from that. But uh, it's kind of like a side effect of having the gravity or the orbital part of the game.
But it happens not nearly as often as it really should for how kind of revolutionary this system is. The amount
Yeah.
of time it does just kind of work is amazing.
Oh yeah. And the amount of times where like you'll have consecutive planetoids that are just like stacked on top of each other and like you can kind of just do a backflip jump and reach the gravity of another section and like it kind of pulls you around and uh it must have been a lot of fun to develop all these things and like really play
Yeah,
with
it's a really creative game. Yeah.
and I also do like the fact that like being Mario Galaxy kind of opened it up where they didn't have to stick to like foundational things that have been in Mario previously. They kind of like could build just random things, as much as they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of where we get the Switch platforms and all the weird random floating stuff that we would, come to love later. Uh, just random pieces of building they're hanging off or whatever. Mario Galaxy isn't really constrained to anything. Like it has all kinds of crazy stuff. Whereas Mario 64 was strictly themed to like elemental levels or I guess really there was some of the crazy stuff in Mario 64, but not anything to the extent that we see in Mario
Especially,
Galaxy.
yeah, I never really noticed that, but you're right. Like, I mean, the Bowser levels have a weird obstacle course on a line, but like other than that, yeah, 64, and then obviously Sunshine went really hard into this naturalistic kind of approach.
Yes.
I didn't really thought about it, but yeah, it's Galaxy that kind of unmoors us from this. I want to say like to this day, I think of this as my favorite Mario game, and it probably keeps on top of the list just because I have never gotten over my wonder at the gravity. uh, like
Yeah.
I don't even think it's nostalgia. I think it is just that I cannot get over how cool it is to be on gravity. I don't know why, but like it's just very, very cool, and I just can't get enough of it.
And I
Uh,
think like, and I've talked about this before on Retrologic, but I think the consensus for most people is that Galaxy 2 is more enjoyable than 1 or is looked upon as more favorable. Uh, but I'm kind of the opposite. I think I like Galaxy 1 better than 2. And I don't know if that's something that
I would
like
say that there's
go ahead.
honestly, I'm not sure there is a consensus on Gal. I definitely the biggest criticism I hear of Galaxy 2 is aesthetic. A lot of people like the aesthetics of Galaxy 1 before. And I do hear I've also heard, and I think you've said this on this channel because you've talked about Galaxy before, that like some people say it's more consistent, but a lot of people will put like some of their highest galaxies in Mario Galaxy, but like more of like a highs, more highs and lows.
Yeah.
It is interesting. There's definitely like a difference between them, but you probably have to play them back to back to really notice the differences, and you have, so you
Well, and
would have that experience.
yeah, I think I was the only one out of our group that liked 1 better than 2 as well. Um, I think a lot of people liked ditching the observatory for having like just the level selection, kind of like a Mario 3 style map um, of the galaxies versus having to go to each section of the observatory and reach a new set of galaxies. But there was something
Yeah, but I
unique
can
about
never
the
get over the
observatory.
magic. Yeah,
I
there's
liked
a
I liked
magic to the
navigating it,
place.
and uh, I just liked how you could see all the different things, and it felt larger at that point. I don't really like going to just looking at all of them on a map and like having it all. I don't know. There was just something, and I don't even have the nostalgia for Galaxy. Like I played it way later. Um, but there's just something about playing it. I liked the feel of it. It felt more like Disney-ish playing the first game than the second game.
I do agree. I do really like the Comet Observatory.
Yeah, I'd second that. The Comet Observatory is, I think, a really cool hub world, even if it does get a little tedious to navigate sometimes. Um, and I'll also say that Galaxy 1 has fewer levels that frustrate me than Galaxy 2, or stress me out. Because Galaxy 2 has some really hard ones that just really stress me out that I'm worried about. And there's really only a couple stars in Galaxy 1 that I
Well,
am
Galaxy
worried about.
2 has Yoshi, which I didn't really jive with as much. I didn't enjoy playing. Yoshi doesn't work in a 3D space as well as like you hope that he does. Uh, there was lots of times where like he was kind of just a monster to control in certain levels.
Not sure I would agree with that, but it has been a while since I played Galaxy 2. Uh, I definitely do think Galaxy 2 is noticeably a little bit harder, but it makes sense. It's probably one of the only direct sequel games. And I will say though that like on the point of tedium, I really thought it'd be more tedious, to go. I was kind of worried it would be a little more tedious, but like, I mean, and like I did a highly tedious structure because I would go to the comments, and there were multiple times in both my Mario and Luigi playthrough where I was bouncing between domes, which is not really recommended. But I still never really got that. It's a lot smaller than you think it is when you're actually trying to travel it. Like
Yeah.
it's still
Well,
annoying. I probably shouldn't have done it like
you
that,
learn the
but it really wasn't that
shortcuts.
bad.
Especially once you get
That's true.
the red star and you're able to fly around.
Yeah. I mean, there's
That's
even
just,
plenty of like
I actually didn't
jumping.
use it.
There's plenty of jumping shortcuts and stuff too to get from place to place pretty quickly as well.
Red Star is very cool, but I actually barely used it except for when I had to on this
It's
playthrough. Just
very
partially because I was trying to
unwieldy.
go fast, and partially because I do find it. Yeah, I do find it hard. A lot of times when I hear John say that it's hard to control something, I do think I still find a lot of, like, I find Yoshi natural. I still find a lot of things natural. The Red Star though is one thing I do admittedly struggle with actually controlling. Uh, Especially, so I actually don't use it that often.
Even just the
Uh,
level that
but there
the
is a magic to flying around.
the galaxy that you get the red star in, uh, for me it was very
Gateway.
difficult to even get all of the because you have to collect 100 of the little star pieces or whatever. Uh,
Purple coins.
yeah, the purple coins.
I
They're all
suspect.
around the map,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I
I
was like, oh my
mean,
word.
I flew around and got all of them in a line, all of the flying ones in a line without really having to adjust myself.
That's a feat right there. Is first time I
I
tried to do it, I was all over the place.
I definitely had a lot easier of a time than I did as a kid. I I think I did get them all in either one or two goes with Mario, and I definitely had to do a second go as Luigi. I messed it up. Uh, it was definitely a lot easier because as a kid I was wantonly trying to overcorrect every time. Uh, and as an adult, it's way easier for me to be like, no, maybe now don't overcorrect that much.
Yeah,
Overcorrect that
it's
much.
very
But I
sensitive.
still
Like
don't find it.
less
Yeah,
is more.
I do wonder if that's why they don't utilize it basically anywhere. Despite, I mean, they have, you can use it in the pub world, which is very cool. But like in terms of, there's not a lot of actual level designed around it, except for the introduction stage in the Gateway Galaxy. Uh,
Yeah, not that I could
I do
think of.
wonder if it was because if they're worried about accessibility, then it's possible that they never found a place where they felt it was
That could
where
be.
they felt confident enough. Uh, I do want to say that it's really interesting that despite how much, despite how much of a innovation the gravity system is, this feels significantly less jank than either 64 or Sunshine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like their, third tries a charm. Like they've kind of figured it out by then. Those first two games were kind of them. I mean, Mario 64 was like the first major 3D game. Like it kind of was the blueprint for all of these things. So you got to kind of give them a little bit
That's fair.
uh, on that one. Sunshine doesn't have near as much of an
And
excuse to
Sunshine
feel
was,
as janky as it does, other than it was rushed.
yeah, because they wanted to save the GameCube.
But yeah, no, Mario Galaxy
Uh,
feels extraordinary. Like when you're controlling it, there's not a whole lot other than having like that little deal where you're running circles. The rest of it feels pretty good. Like there's not a whole lot of areas where you run into problems.
I think also this is partly, this is like the start, and then all the Mario games after this would be very, very tight, or very,
Yeah.
very polished,
Mhm.
And this is, I think, the first one where they really nail it on the polish.
I agree.
The first 3D one.
So explain your progression here. What do you want? What are we going through here? Just how the gameplay works, like the structure of the game.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about, I was talking about the domes, each dome. Well, because Galaxy is way more structured than Galaxy 2. Every dome has exactly 5 galaxies except for the last one, because one of the galaxies is a boss galaxy and there's no boss galaxy in the last dome, so that one has
Yeah.
4 galaxies. They're not all the same types, but and most interesting, there's only 2 types of galaxies. Really, if you want to, I mean, there's more you can subdivide. You can see I've subdivided it in various ways. There's the galaxies in the domes. There's the Hungry Luma galaxy that's added to each dome, and then there's the trial galaxies, and obviously there's the gateway galaxy, which is kind of its own dome of one, and there's the final galaxy. But there's only 2 types of galaxies, and the fact that a galaxy is either one of the 15 main galaxies and has 6 stars, or it's one of the other ones I call the minor galaxies, which have 1 star. And there's a lot more variance. And not only that, for the 6 stars, there's a specific mix. There's always 3 missions, 1 hidden star, 1 comet medal, 1 normal comet, and then after you beat Bowser, you'll unlock the purple comets, and there's a purple comet for each main galaxy.
Yeah.
It's really structured. And Galaxy 2 isn't like that at all. You don't know what levels are going to have hidden. Yeah, you don't know what galaxy is going to have hidden stars. You don't know if it's going to be 2 or 3 missions. And it kind of makes sense. It's probably better a little bit that way. But I did something very interesting and appealing about that structure. You can do the math. You can start mathing out. You can start. I started doing math, calculator math. And I guess the one weird exception is that there are the 4 colored stars, which are added onto galaxies that otherwise follow this rule. 2 are added to main galaxies and up their total to 7, and then 2 are added to 1-star galaxies and up their total to 2. And so that's really interesting that the colored stars are unified in the fact, because there's 3 green stars and 1 red star, and they're unified in that they each are just tacked on to a galaxy that otherwise follows the rule.
Yeah. It breaks the structure.
And it makes the green stars feel like a really cool extra special secret, even though they're really not that secret.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, it tells you about them.
Yeah, it tells you when you're missing them, same as the regular hidden stars. And one of them's a Hungry Luma, one of them's a Luigi mission. Like, it literally mails you to tell you that you have this star to get. But they feel secret because they break the structure, and I think that's interesting. So that's really the condensed version of all of what I wrote. I go into a lot more detail in this progression paragraph, but that's the important bit.
That's all right. What was your guys' favorite galaxy?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I like the Toy Time Galaxy. It's colorful, it's creative, it's got a fun vibe, and I am the singular person who actually likes the spring mushroom.
Probably yes.
I like the spring mushroom.
I think Flighty remembers this. On my second playthrough, I didn't even get the spring mushroom ever, and I beat the game. Like, whatever galaxy was that had it, I didn't go to it.
Speaking of, I was going to bring this up in the fun facts, but since we're talking about it now, earlier on I sent like a screenshot in the RetroLogic Discord, and I thought I should explain that. So you get this little cutscene whenever you first get a power-up, but it happens wherever you first get that power. And so that screenshot was me getting the spring mushroom for the first time in the Matter Splatter Galaxy, of which in order to unlock the Matter Splatter Galaxy, you need to beat the first star of the Toy Time Galaxy, where the Spring Mushroom is normally introduced. So you are actually able to finish that level without using the Spring Mushroom. And it's not even actually all that hard. There was one point where I had to figure out that I could wall jump off the side of something that didn't really look like I should be able to. But that was my little achievement at that point, just getting a screenshot of unlocking a power-up in the wrong level.
Nice.
That is very cool. Unfortunately, I'm not. Do you have to get the first star in the Toy Time Galaxy?
Yes,
to get
you
Matter
do.
Splatter?
Yes, you do.
Why?
Certain galaxies have other galaxies or other stars as prerequisites.
But isn't Matter Splatter in the garden? Wait,
Yes,
sorry, let me
Matter
check on
Splatter
Wait.
requires 50 stars and to have beaten the first star of the Toy Time Galaxy.
Wait, oh yeah, I have to look. Blah, 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 blah. Where's the...
That's what I'm trying to find.
I thought that was only the Hungry Lumas that did that.
No.
I thought it was... So the question boxes that don't explicitly tell you what unlocks them, those also work on those rules.
Yeah, a lot of galaxies just have various other galaxies as prerequisites. Like, in order to unlock the Bone Fin Galaxy, you need to have beaten the Drip Trap Galaxy.
Huh.
The Bone Fin Galaxy is actually pretty cool.
You're right. I never noticed that. I did notice that because I noticed that it was true about the Hungry Lumas, because I was like, why am I not getting Hungry Lumas on some domes? Because I did on one of my playthroughs. And I was like, oh, I haven't done this level yet. I didn't realize that just applied to a bunch of galaxies. That's really interesting. It's pretty impressive.
Fly 2, what's your favorite?
That's really interesting. I really don't want to just say Toy Town again. I could probably talk about... Oh, dang it. My microphone's not on. It's hard to pick a favorite because it would just be Toy Time, but it's also hard to pick a favorite because I have like so many fond memory. Like each of these has something you could say about it. Like obviously there's Good Egg and Honey Hive are kind of classical beginnings. Obviously I have to talk about, Space Junk has a really cool vibe to it. I really I even have fun. My favorite planet is in the Golden Leaf Galaxy. It's the one that's shaped like an M. I always take some amount of time to just long jump around the M planet because it's shaped like an M, and the gravity is like on this in the center of the whole sticks, and I just cannot resist long jumping around that. Obviously, one of the key places to long jump as well is this Hurry Galaxy and the later Seaside Galaxy, where they're the same star, where you can long jump around a power star. And like obviously, very memorable stars in the back. It is just Toy Time, but like I'm just stalling because it's definitely still Toy Time because like it's just such a unique vibe.
It is a really cool galaxy.
And just that first one, especially of defeating Mechabus. Mechabus was such a cool set piece. Yeah, I have to do Toy Time, even though I don't want to. I do still have other stuff to talk about as well. That I haven't found a place to put in if we're looking for conversation.
I think
like
I was gonna say, do you want to touch? Let's touch the controls and mechanics really quick, and then we'll follow up with like talk about the last bits that we want to talk about that we personally want to talk about.
All right.
I think we've already been kind of talking about the controls and mechanics, but one thing we have only just a little bit touched on is the power ups in this game. There's quite a few power ups in Mario Galaxy. I think we've only talked about the Spring Mario and maybe B Mario.
We talked a bit about the Red Star.
Yeah, we did talk about the Red Star. But I mean, there's a ton of power-ups.
But overall, the power-ups I think are really creative and really fun in this game. even though some of them I don't feel like get used enough, the boo mushroom only shows up in, I think, 3.
Yeah, where you're racing boo
Uh,
most of the time.
yeah. Spring mushroom only shows up in 4.
And then
So
kind of an odd choice too. The ice flower and the fire flower are both like temporary. Kind of like a superstar would be in Mario, and they kind
It's
of
the
work
Rainbow Star
like
this time.
Rainbow Star in this game. Uh, and Ice Mario kind of works like differently than. Well, I guess this might be the first time we get Ice Mario actually. Now that
It's
I'm
not.
thinking about it, it's not. It was
That's one of
in.
my favorite trivia questions. It's not. Do
Was this?
you want to guess where it was? Favorite trivia question.
Was this in the DS game?
Technically, which DS game? It wasn't a DS game.
New Super Mario
Probably not
Brothers.
the one you're thinking of. No.
Oh, which one is it in?
So okay, so first, technically, it first appears as a concept in the manga, so I have to point that out.
Oh gosh.
The Super Mario Kun manga, but I just have to point that out because someone will correct me if I don't say that. But interestingly, the Ice Flower takes a while to ever get to get a normal we now have the Ice Flower. Now we think of the Ice Flower as in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and that having a very kind of defined feel to it, but the Ice Flower first appears in Mario and Luigi Partners in Time for the DS and
Okay.
RPG, and it's a counterpart to the Bros Flower, not the Fire Flower. And where the Rose Flower can burn people, the Ice Flower can basically give stat debuffs. And then this game, obviously, we have the walking on water kind of mechanic. And then and then we get New Super Mario Bros. Wii, where it has the freeze ice enemies and pick them up. And then actually, wait, let me look up something, because I think what you think, you said you were starting to say that it has a weird use, right? And that's because you're thinking of it as in the New Super Mario Bros. Series. And yes, it does become regularly used in the New Super Mario Bros. Series after New Super Mario Bros. Wii. But the Ice Flower, then this is the only time the Ice Flower actually shows up in 3D Mario.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at that too. It's kind of been shelved, per se. But what I was gonna say is that
Which is weird because
I like the usage of it, like how it allows you to like kind of create the ice hexagons over the water, and like you can freeze a water spout to keep it from uh, producing water even further.
do you
Just
think
like
it's a
some
lot more
different
compelling
cool
than the
things.
Fire Flower in this game?
Yeah,
Sorry.
the fire flower also being timed in Mario Galaxy definitely feels a lot less useful in the game. 30 seconds is not very long either.
Yeah. It is interesting. The 3D games have always been, well, no, because this will change when we get to 3D Land. But when you look at these first 3D games, all the 3D All Star games, they really use power ups way differently than the 2D games.
They do, and it makes me wonder if it's to kind of like reduce the amount of like in 2D Mario, there's a lot of things going on that you can lose your power up pretty easily. There's way more enemies surrounding you a lot of times. Or I guess with
Yeah.
3D Mario, you have a lot less chance of that happening right off the bat. But
3D Mario, there's always bespoke
in
gameplay segments.
Yeah, in
Sorry.
Galaxy 2 in Galaxy they are used for level progression.
Yes, they are.
Instead of just being a health buffer and extra small thing.
I mean, they're almost not that different from like the Star Ball and the other movement gimmicks, like the bubble, the Star Ball, and the ray fishing or the ray surfing. Like, because they are just like kind of like you have the opportunity, you can skip them more easily than those other three than the non-power up, but still change your movement more drastically. But they're very much like, this is for specifically this time in the level, and it's going to help you in this specific part. And notably, like Savannah said, they're really not used that often. Like, the majority of stars don't use them. Which it's really interesting. They have really creative ideas, but they really are. But they're besides, yeah, especially in their usage, which I guess I'm just repeating the points I said earlier. Okay. I do. If we're talking about power-ups, sorry.
I was going to say there was one extra thing at the bottom here that is worth noting about the 3 extra control modes that are rarely switched to throughout the game, using the bubbles, the rolling ball, and the race surfing, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
And the sling pods.
Sling pods
are
yes,
the sling
also
pods.
Well, and then also the
pole stars.
And you could almost in the what is it, the the galaxy where you're holding on to the dandelions or whatever they are as you fly
spiral
through
vines.
Yes, well, not the spiral vines, the
floaty fluff.
Well,
the floaty fluff. Yes, the floaty fluff takes a little while to get used to as well.
Gusty Gardens,
yes. That's another mechanic, like, because you only get three goes at it, and then next thing you know, you're dying. And the first time you do it, you just kind of bust through those 3 real quickly, and you realize, oh, I messed up. I'm never going to make it to the next thing, to the next gust.
Oh, luckily I remembered that from when I was a kid this time.
Even I always forget about it. I always
could also talk to the bunnies at the beginning of the level who tell you can only do it 3 times.
That's not fun. No one talks to the bunnies.
Wow, what did the bunnies ever do to you?
You got to remember, I like to play these things just off the cuff. Like, I go try to figure it out. I don't do a lot of talking to the NPCs. I'm usually out there dying a billion times trying to figure out how to do all the things.
I would have talked to the bunnies a lot more if I wasn't trying to reach a star total that's really high.
Yeah, try to get all the stars. I don't have time for the bunnies. But I mean, I should remember it, but it had been, man, I don't even know how long. Too long. So yeah, my first go this last time, I just grabbed one and took off, and I was like, oh yeah, you only get 3 tries at this. And then I just immediately plummeted.
Yeah. I should say, so the power-ups are listed in the manual as Mario's special moves, and it lists B Mario, Rainbow Mario, Blue Mario, Ice Mario, Fire Mario, and Spring Mario, and it doesn't list the red star because that's supposed to be a secret, but I believe that is called Flying Mario. And then under objects, it lists various objects, which would include the launch star, the pole stars, the Sproutle Vine, the cannons, the bubbles, the rolling ball, the ray surfing, and the sling pod. So that would be how they're taxonomized. That's how they're categorized in the manual. Those are all 2 categories. Like, and then there's the items, but it's
definitely a lot more ways to traverse galaxies than there were in the previous 3D games.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back to what you were doing earlier. What was the thing you wanted to discuss that we missed up top?
I gotta talk about general experience playing this. I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff, but interesting. So this was arguably in pretty bad conditions, because I had a million other things going on. I had, I was actually very busy when I played this, and somewhat stressed. And so that's why I did the Luigi run in one day. And so I would not recommend doing the Luigi run in one day, especially not after you had collected 40 stars to complete the Mario run the previous day. That is actually not optimal. Yeah, no. I think, though, that it is a testament to the game's strength on how much this game resisted becoming a slog. It was just always fun to move around it, and it did become a bit of a slog towards the end of the Luigi run. But then I put on some podcasts, or not podcasts, but like YouTube videos, and to listen to in the background some video essay where you don't actually have to look at the video, and like then it became easy again because like it kind of worked as like a really not because it's easy and because I'm so used to it. It kind of worked very well as an almost background activity, and which was really interesting. And I do think there's a testament to how incredibly comfortable this game is, at least to me, to pick up and just move around in. So I wanted to speak to that. That was one thing I wanted to make sure I highlighted.
I guess I can go over my current experience as well if you're done. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's good. I have other topics, but they're kind of other topics, so you should say your thing on this first.
Well, this pops up on Retro Logic, and I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't ever actually 100%ed Mario Galaxy, so this would be a perfect opportunity. So I text my sibling Galacticoopa saying, "Hey, let's race. Who can get to 232 stars first?" And I play that day, and I beat World 1. And Koopa plays that day and beats the game. 4 days later, they have 100%ed the game. And I'm like, I have beaten World 3.
I did look into it. Like they sent videos, and it was like it's like 20 hours, and like the world record's 10 hours. Like for
yeah, they told me they went fast.
But you said race, so
yeah, I did say that, and then I ate my words. So overall, I didn't have a lot of time. I was focusing on other things. I was stressed out by other things. So I ended up doing almost what Philip did, and a few days ago, I just sat down and cranked out 80 stars in Luigi mode. And I had said sibling with me to talk, so that's how I got through it.
It definitely helps to have, something else kind of going on, because this game can, especially since there's not really much difference between playing through it with Mario and Luigi.
Mm-hmm.
It does get a little monotonous.
Yeah, I will say, ideally, I would have stopped at Mario and just did Luigi sometime later when it was fresh again. But because of the circumstances of the challenge, I wanted to complete it. So
that's understandable.
I agree.
All right, Fletzy, what else did you have for us? You said you had a few more topics that you wanted to touch on.
I do want to say that I spent a lot of this being like this playthrough. I know that a lot of people would like the controls wise. This is arguably the most restrictive of the 3D Marios. I think that's not super controversial. Because like you could do a lot with 64 and Sunshine, and obviously stuff like Odyssey is known for its very fluid movement system. This is slower, It's again, there's not a lot of real platforming. It's a slower kind of experience. But I did find but despite that, I found myself still doing tons of stuff like that. The Nintendo model of like emergent difficulty, I think shines here with you have so many more moves than you actually need in most situations. And even in this game, and you just there's just a fun, a joy in just trying to do stuff and clearly not the intended way. trying to like.
As I said earlier, completing the Toy Time Galaxy without the spring mushroom, a lot of backflip, wall jump, spin. Honestly, whenever you want to do anything, backflip, wall jump, spin.
Yep.
The tried and true combo.
That's pretty simple. There were a few times I had to triple jump, which is slightly higher, but most of the time, black jump, wall jumps, and it's very simple to do, but it breaks way too much of the game. But it's also very cool that it does that.
And all those things are kind of carryover from the previous 3D Mario games.
Yeah, I mean it's probably one of the. It's weird because it's one of the most obvious and most talked about strengths of Mario, but it's also something that is weirdly easy to forget about. I find. I gotta talk to some other highlight.
Galaxy just feels so fluid to control. It's easily my favorite Mario game to just run around in.
I think the simplicity, if I wanted to actually get Odyssey has a really high skill ceiling. If I actually wanted to figure out Odyssey, I'd have to do a lot of work. But you can feel like you're breaking the game in Galaxy, and you're just back to with wall jump spinning. And I do really like that. There is also long jumping when it gives you pole stars, and it's I can long jump. There's a surprising amount of times you can long jump and get to stuff that the game clear doesn't really think about you getting to.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to do it that way, but it's easy enough to do.
Although some of the purple coins seem to expect you to know stuff, like Honey Hive expects you to be able to wall jump and get on stuff. I guess it's just another example of what's kind of a natural extension of the moveset.
Yeah, I mean, once you get to those coins, I think that they expect you to be an expert.
I gotta point out that in terms of skipping stuff, that there's a point where you can, in Mega Legs Galaxy, you could triple jump off the dome with the launch star in it and then spin, and you will get hooked into Mega Legs Planet Galaxy, and you'll fall straight to it. And you can explore that planet with Mega Leg off, because Mega Leg only turns on when you touch the specific landing square. So I had a lot of fun doing that. I think though that it just does a lot to keep the game fresh, even if you're breezing through it, because it's fun to breeze through.
It's pretty good. Definitely, it's kind of in that middle ground. Odyssey has almost too much stuff that you can do, and then the other ones are a little bit more crude still. But this is almost perfect, right in the middle ground, where there's just enough game there for you to have, get an expert level of play out of it. But also anyone can play it and feel like they're achieving that. Whereas Mario Odyssey, I put close to 100 hours in that game, and I wasn't anywhere near efficient enough to pull off half the stuff that I was seeing people do online.
Well, it doesn't teach you as well. I mean, it's just not. There's just so much to learn. You probably need to tutorialize that if you actually wanted to. I get why the people that like Odyssey really like Odyssey, because they've mastered that. So I definitely understand that. But for someone like me, I definitely prefer this a lot better.
Did you have any other topics?
We should actually talk about the story.
We can talk about the story.
Both the library and the actual ending. We could end on the ending, so we should talk about there's still the fun facts, but yeah.
Well, let's do the fun facts real quick, and then we can launch into the ending part of it, and we can end the show with the ending of the story if you'd like. Because the fun facts are really short anyway, and I already talked about the first one here, the Super Mario 128 Link, the concept of all the Marios running around, being shown off in Space World 2000. It really was a cool demo to see, of course, this was a live event that wasn't like televised or anything. It wasn't like a Nintendo Direct is today, or even like a lot of how E3 was before it left off. But I remember seeing this like this was one of those times because there was no YouTube either. Uh, so like it's one of those things where like one of my buddies would be like, "Oh, you got to check this video out. I saw I had it. There's a site that somebody had posted, footage of this, so everyone would hop on and go look at it that way." It was really cool to see the tech demo stuff like this and the Zelda stuff that came out of Space World 2000. And then the next one is that the Red Star can be used to access Hungry Lumen's galaxies by flying into them.
I did not know that.
Which, yeah, I did not either. That's interesting.
I did do that. I remember doing it. I also remember that I'm pretty sure it does not work for the trial galaxies.
Right, no,
which makes sense because lore-wise, those are so far away.
What I know is that there's an invisible wall stopping you from flying onto the planet of trials.
Yeah.
It's because I knew you would try.
And the trial galaxies are supposed to be the farthest galaxies away. They're even like smaller. You can see them because you can see the galaxies. You can see because you can physically fly to the Hungry Luma galaxies, and they're noticeably smaller than the Hungry Luma galaxies. But yeah, I remember that. It's a really interesting kind of small interaction.
Yeah. And then the next one is you can gain a speed boost when racing Cosmic Mario or Luigi by pressing specific buttons during the countdown.
I always forget. What it is. I remember now you hold up from the start, then on 2 you press ZL for the Switch version or Z for the Wii version, and you hold that in, and then when it says go, you press A.
Huh.
It almost doesn't feel intended. It almost feels like a dev secret they left in, especially when it happens. Just kind of it doesn't. It looks weird. Like you glow like a color, right? And then it just kind of go yellow, and you kind of go. And it's such a weird. Like nothing in the game hints. You've talked to the NPCs. None of them talked about that, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I didn't.
And it's weirdly complicated as well. I know that if you hold Z, he'll go and Mario will change positions, so maybe that's supposed to indicate, but it's really interesting.
That is weird, yeah. And then the last one here, if you orbit around a planet for too long, the game kills you as a failsafe.
I also did not know that.
How many times
I have video of it. Well, that's the way. Okay, I added this, but because I couldn't find a better explanation. There is one planet, especially that I always see people talk about this with, and it's the planet. It's in the Spooky Galaxy. I always forgot what it's called. It's the bouncy planet that has like a thing orbiting it, and you can long jump around it, and then it kind of has you fly off into space if you do it right. I am not actually sure it's true. That's the only explanation I've heard for why you fly off into space. But the one time I managed to get it, it felt like it took less time than some of the unsuccessful attempts. It's possible that there's something that's more complicated than a simple timer. And I swear there's other times where I've been able to long jump for longer. So it's weird. There's some kind of failsafe happening.
There's something,
it only happens when you
down.
But it might be more specific than a simple timer of how many. That's just the only explanation I could find for why it happens, but it feels more complicated. It doesn't feel like it's literally the longest I've been in orbit,
Yeah.
And it's always on that planet, so maybe there's something specific about that planet. But I had to put it in because it is cool.
Could be something broken, even.
I've got a fun fact. It's not as big, but there are 5 1-up mushrooms in the Comet Observatory. There's one in a box in the garage. There is one underneath the bedroom that you need to go on those green floating platforms to get.
Yep.
There's one underneath the kitchen that you can just walk around. Yep. And then there is one on the very tip top of the observatory and one underneath the gateway planet. those last two require the red star in order to obtain.
Right.
That's pretty cool. All right, Flight. So you want to read this last part of the story and bring us out?
Yeah. I'm not gonna read it. I just want to talk. We'll start with the library. Obviously there's for one, the adding to the atmosphere. When people talk about the atmosphere of Galaxies 1 specifically, a lot of it comes from these storybook segments, which I guess are added in Galaxy 2 in the Switch remake, but obviously they were exclusive to Galaxy 1 originally, that tell this somewhat vague, but like also very implication heavy and like somber story of, or at least bittersweet story of Rosalina forming the Comet Observatory and coming across the Lumas that I still get a little emotional reading. It's very simple, but it's very effective, I think, at what it's doing. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on it.
I haven't actually looked at the storybook stuff in a long time, so
That's very interesting. I had to look for it. I mean, I could not resist reading it on my Mario playthrough.
Same. And I was wondering if either one of you guys have read the like physical book.
no, forgot they did that.
I did not forget that
Supposedly they added story to it, right?
They added one chapter in the Switch release, but they did that did not make it into the physical book, which I think is good because I think it's a bit clunky.
That's right.
The epilogue. I think the epilogue chapter is a little clunky. I mean, I like the other stat, and I do like what I watch cutscenes because I don't own the Switch 2 version of Galaxy 2. I like what they did with Love and Galaxy 2. I don't know, something about that specific vibe they're hitting with Galaxy 1, where it's like they hit that shot. Like when I was looking at the extra stuff they added in the port, it felt a little bit too almost like cerebral. It felt like too much like it didn't have that kind of vague. It didn't quite hit that like it didn't quite hit the same level of, I think, vagueness, almost like that ability to like if you actually try and construct the timeline, there's question marks everywhere. There's input. It's something you can read into really a lot, and I don't think the Switch additions to either storybook have that same ability to kind of read it different ways, and like this vague and like very, it feels very metaphorical. There's times where like it's, you know, I don't know, there's a very specific vibe that I don't think they quite hit with the extra chapters, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and reread all. I read. I know my last playthrough, I was kind of like reading the book as I was finding the chapters, and then at some point I kind of fell off. So I need to go back and finish because I do have the Switch 2 version. Or not Switch 2 version. I have the newer version of Galaxy that released 1 and 2. There isn't a Switch 2 version, right?
Yeah. No, there's not a Switch 2 version. Sorry, I might have misspoke. But the original, it's like
Oh,
I
was muted. While we're on the subject of the storybook, I would be remiss not to mention the music. I believe it's called Luma. But the music for the storybook and for the opening is phenomenal.
We haven't talked about music at all.
Yeah, it's very lullaby-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Even just the animation from the storybook is really good. Like they do a good job with the delivery. And it's really like simple watercolor, like children's bedtime story book.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminds me of like an old golden book or whatever. But they do they do a really good job, and the music is really good. And Flightsy's right. We have not talked about music in this game, but this game has like some of the best music.
Oh
Like
yeah.
fully orchestrated, uh, just beautiful music.
Hmm.
I mean, hopefully you'll have been listening to it throughout the podcast because you'll have inserted it in.
Yes. Anybody that's watching this live, I didn't upload the music tracks into Riverside to be able to play them alongside the show tonight. So I will be adding them in the old way for the audio portion of the podcast. I'll just kind of edit them in. But we are going to be listening to some fantastic music for this episode.
I mean, you mentioned earlier about the planets and how it abandoned any sense, it abandoned traditions and it became more of an anything goes. This is interesting because this game completely abandons the kind of Latin and jazzy kind of roots of Super Mario music, which had been consistent up to this point for that full orchestral soundtrack, specifically to kind of like punch in the kind of majesty of space and the
Yeah, just it goes big, because space is big, I'm assuming. But it had to feel larger than what, all the other soundtracks have come before. And it delivers.
it's
I
probably
mean,
the
it's a really good soundtrack.
it is
It's
it's probably the first
I have the disc version that came with Galaxy.
it's probably the first time I'd be able to call a Mario soundtrack like grandiose,
Yeah, I agree.
big, music that really makes you like that you could feel like you're being taken along, with it. But also like very also like space junk, like so like obviously there's the grand side of like Gusty Garden Galaxy and like like I'm not gonna try and say it, but like but there's also like the very contemplative kind of like space junk and the like it can do the quieter moments, the
Yeah,
kind of like
it has full range. Like they can pretty much do all of it because there are definitely some levels that have really great atmosphere, which is something that an orchestra can kind of struggle with at times to deliver atmosphere. It's something that I feel digital does a little bit better. I mean, stuff like Metroid or I guess even Castlevania to an extent, but uh, the orchestra really hits the really high notes, and then it can also do like the storybook type stuff. But it all feels really good, and it all fits. Like they did a really good job at putting the right tracks in for the right galaxies.
okay, I had a really good segue, but I'm gonna have to abandon it because now that we've talked music, can't believe I forgot to talk about the skyboxes. I love the skyboxes in this game. Like, there's some really creative, like you don't notice them. They're really you notice the music, right? But like then you get to like something like, like a few of my favorite, like obviously there's Toy Time Galaxy with its bedroom skybox,
Yeah,
but there's also I don't remember. It's like Big Fish Galaxy or one of them.
the fish
A Big
bowl or
Mouth
whatever.
Galaxy? No, Big Mouth. It's like one of the one-star galaxies. And it's like a
Oh, okay.
big mouth that you're in, and it's the golden shell. And it's just like this this ocean skybox. I don't think any is anywhere else, which is really cool. Uh Space Junk's skybox, is a lot of like, dark pinpricks, and then you tilt it the right way, and you always one of the crazy things, because there's 360 skyboxes, you could be looking at one sky and then you'll go around a different part of the planet and get something completely different. Like Space Junk, it's like a bunch of, like it's very much the blackness of space, like white pinpricks of white, and then you go around to the other side of the planet and it's this beautiful kind of like white and pink and purplish galaxy, like an actual galaxy on the, because obviously it's not galaxy scale. It was like, and like this kind of spiral, almost Milky Way-esque galaxy, and it's really easy to just not even see it.
Yeah, you can totally miss a lot of them.
Like, I think my favorite is actually the spooky one, which is a bunch of ghosts going from one end and then culminating in this big, like brilliantly white, blue light, because which is where they're all going towards. They're all going towards the light.
Yep.
And Melty Molten has you between, like, you're inside one giant planet, with lava spires going up between them, and the entire constellation of planets is inside this one giant planet skybox with like lava on the other side, and then like you can see outwards into space. So they're just constantly hitting. They're constantly hitting it. They're really, and it's so easy to miss.
And now you're gonna have to go back through and look at them all again.
Mm-hmm.
So good. I love them.
All right, we've been hanging out for almost 2 hours. We're gonna have to roll this guy up.
So we actually have to talk about the end of the game.
Yes. I was gonna say.
So the other side.
Go ahead.
So, you get to Bowser, really cool fight. Not very hard, but you get to the middle of the. I really do like the set piece of them fighting inside the planet. So talk about skyboxes again, inside of the hollowed the lava-y planet with kind of just a ring. You beat Bowser. Throw him into the lava planet. You start coming back, but then Bowser's empire crushes in on itself, and something about it causes it to explode in the center of the universe, and it creates some kind of vortex which is sucking everything in, and then the music hits in, and it's the Luma music. It's the Luma music from the storybook, but it's altered and it shifts into like I don't know how to explain it musically, but it shifts a little bit. And it's
a little bit higher energy than what the original is.
Oh, it's not. I don't think it is. It's like because like da, 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 and then like it like cues into like a higher tone.
Like I mean, like they're there to save the day, so like it kind of I feel like it picks up a little bit more than what it does in the book.
Oh, it definitely changes, but like it advances. It shifts into like I don't know the right musical term, but like, well, you're gonna have to put this one in because it's hard to explain. It climbs up a few stages and then it's higher, and because it's not heroic, because it's viewed it's this kind of almost sacrifice. It's a Luma's purpose to regenerate themselves, but it is, it's going for emotional. It's not a particularly frenetic piece, it's still the lullaby tempo. And then all the Lumas go in and they transform the universe, and you see that it's fighting a bit, and then it rebirths the entire universe.
Which is a weird way to go about it, but yeah, it kind of resets everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that ending is whack.
It almost goes back to like, was this all just a dream?
Yeah. But it's special. It's like
mm-hmm.
It's weird. And like the storybook, if you look at it time-wise, it doesn't super line up cleanly. But like thematically, it's been building towards it the whole game. The Lumas have always they've been on this rebirth kick, this entire time. And the storybook also has that kind of vagueness where like you could tell there's like meant to be like a point, but it's still like it's very vague and open.
Yeah, they almost leave it to where like you could find your own point in it. Probably intentionally. Nintendo's usually pretty good about that.
Yeah. Well, I argue they don't usually leave it so open. Like most Mario stories are pretty straightforward. And this isn't complicated. It's more vaguer though.
Yeah, they kind of let you come to your own conclusion, which is not something they're used to doing with Mario.
Yeah. And there is
my pet theory is that when you get 120 stars and they do that ending, they remake the universe wrong, and that's why there's Luigi.
Yeah.
Because when you play as
That's-
Luigi, Luigi still appears as an NPC.
Yeah.
And it's really funny.
That is funny.
It's really- I really like yeah, there's also another cutscene when you do it 120 stars, which shows, you know, which is basically Rosalina leaves with her star. She like says, "Man, super thanks and stuff," but like more mysteriously, and then she leaves in the comet, and then all that's left is a broken Starshroom and the one Luma. And I'm like, did she just restart the cycle? Like, is that the Luma that this universe is Rosalina's gonna find? Like, because right, that's the implication. Because it starts with the Luma that is
Yeah.
the storybook starts with that Luma, and then that
finds
they
her.
become the comet, and then at the end they remake the universe and they leave the one Luma behind that needs its mama on that same planet. So I think there's like this weird circular and almost like kind of time loopy element to it. And I guess I got to talk about the grand finale galaxy, which is the post game secret. So chronologically, this is the very last thing you'll get.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It is just a walkthrough of. It's the precursor to like the 120 star, like the secret you get for the 100% reward for Super 64 and Sunshine are not really like, they're little secrets, you know.
Yeah.
They're cosmetic things.
Yes. This is the first time there's a level. You get to unlock a super secret level. And to be fair, and it's weird because like this is just an epilogue level. And I gotta say, I love epilogues. I love when they just take the time to showcase what happened afterwards. I feel like a lot of media nowadays gets to the climax and then just drops it. I really wish we had more showing what the characters are after. I just eat that stuff up.
Yeah.
So I really
there's
enjoy
a lot
it.
of building usually.
And it's just really fun. I've always really loved Grand Finale and just going about and seeing, I think, the new universe implied by the ending where everyone's kind of closer together and you're talking to people. It's just really fun. Obviously, it's a bit of a comedic moment because the Toad Brigade is getting crowned, you know, for their massive achievement.
For them getting lost all the time and you having to save them.
Yeah. Being scared. I mean, kept total order. Sorry.
Just going through and seeing the dialogue for everything. The dialogue in that level is very charming. There's a Guillermo who's like, "I better not see you littering."
Yep.
Billboard is there. He laments the fact that he can't partake in the festivities because he's a sign.
I remember that. This is the one level I did talk to all of the NPCs at least on one playthrough. And Male Toad delivers you a picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We don't have to beat the level.
Well, I know, but I mean, it's the whole point of the level.
Yeah. Yeah.
To not talk to
I just think it's interesting.
You'd be remiss.
Yeah. And they send you the Wii message board version.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
If you talk to Male Toad. And it just saves it to you screenshots in 3D All Stars. And I just really love it. But it is really interesting because it's the in-between. Between before is nothing, and then Super Mario Galaxy 2 introduces what will become the Mario standard of the really hard final level, the secret final level.
Yeah.
But this is one little sweet spot where it's just another thing about Galaxy that's just a little weird, but also really charming.
I mean, it makes it worth it. You get some fun stuff for doing it, and you don't just get the hardest thing imaginable to try to muster through.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I understand a lot. I mean, I understand if it's probably divisive, you know? Like, there are probably some people like, this is boring, you know? But, I mean, I disregard those people. So. I really like it. I think it's unique, you know? It's the only Mario game that does it like this.
It is. All right, we're gonna move into the outro. We have
Yeah, we've been here for a while.
been here for a while, covered a lot. We've really talked about this game. It's good.
I've had fun though.
Yeah. Do you guys have any final words? I'll let Savannah go first.
It's just still probably one of my favorite games of all time. It's a game that means so much to me, and I'm so glad I was able to, finally get through to 100% it and give it the time it deserves.
I'm glad that we were able to make that happen and give you a reason to go back, because it is a good game and it's worth it for anyone who hasn't went back and played it, or for anyone who hasn't played it at all and it will be a first time. I'm envious because this game is really good,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to go back and play it for the first time again would be amazing. Flightsy, what do you got for us? Last thing.
I do really like this game. I'm gonna squeeze another thing in my final thoughts because I have to, which is that it is interesting that like my sorry, you know what? This can't be my final thought. My idea of this game, right, is muddled a bit with Galaxy 2. It's really interesting playing just Galaxy and going full in on Galaxy. Because of that. There were galaxies there are like a lot of really creative galaxies I missed because I knew they were in sorry, I just got distracted. The chat says there's a string part added.
I think he
Oh,
was
to the Luma song.
yes, to the Luma song. Just filling in the blank.
Uh,
that you
thank
couldn't
you.
figure out.
Thank you. There's a string part added. Thank you. Okay, but like it's really interesting actually just playing Galaxy, and like it helps me like kind of like dissect like there's so many. I think I have more childhood nostalgia for 2, and so much of what is introduced in 2, and like the bits that like are really really from my childhood. But like it's a wonderful joy to play this game. It's interesting actually. Even though obviously I missed some of the concepts from Galaxy 2, I really did enjoy this game. And it's I'm not sure if I'd say it's my favorite game anymore, especially since I'm not as big into Mario specifically, but it's definitely my favorite 3D Mario game. And
it can't be better than Pikmin, right?
Well, not to me, but I'm specific. It's one of those. It's one of the few must play. Like if I had to pick a bunch of games to get an idea of gaming culture, obviously I'd be Super Nintendo biased. But if I could only pick one Nintendo game, it would be this one. And so I would pick this as one of those games.
This game is kind of like the essence of Nintendo rolled up into a game. It's very playful. It has the storybook, so it's like very pointed towards children growing up with Nintendo over time. It kind of paints the whole picture, round circle.
Just so creative and fun.
Yep, I agree, and accessible,
and it has
to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think it has a magic that they have not quite captured in quite the same way. They've captured different kinds of magic, and there are arguments that even some of the later games are better. But there's a magic to this game, and I think that's not just nostalgia. I think there is an actual palpable magic to this game.
I agree. All right.
I do.
Oh, you got another thing? Oh yeah, you do. You said that wasn't your last thing. You have one more thing.
That was like my wrap up on Galaxy. I do think that makes a great final word for Galaxy. I do think though that like for this discussion, it would have been. I do wish there had been more people. Specifically, I would have wished for there to be a more critical lens. We all really liked the game, and it would have been nice to have heard from someone. It is kind of hard to
find the critical person of Galaxy. I think most
That's
of us
true.
have
That's
a really big fondness towards Galaxy. It's definitely one of those games. If you were to look back I'm sure it was rated a 10 out of 10 by most outlets, and I would say that even the uh, user review score for this game is going to be pretty close to that as well. It's probably really good on Metacritic if I had to guess. Not really a whole lot to
That's true.
dislike, other than the fact that I guess it did come out on the Wii, and the Wii is kind of like whenever uh, Nintendo kind of lost touch with a good amount of gamers by not trying to compete graphically any longer. It was kind of the great
Yeah.
divide for a lot of people.
Well, in
But
terms of accessibility, I know some people get motion sick trying to play it.
yeah, I could see that.
I have heard criticism of the game. I don't want to say them because I don't want to misrepresent them. I have heard people, criticize it. I remember I randomly joined one Twitch stream and someone was arguing that the levels weren't as memorable as 64 Sunshine. So that was a wild thing to just kind of walk into. But
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of it. Somebody that's saying that probably grew up on 64.
yeah,
So
that's
that's
probably
where
true.
their nostalgia lies. So like it definitely depends on where you're at when you play this game. Like you guys were pretty much kids playing this, so you have
Mm-hmm.
way more
Yeah,
memories of this.
Mm-hmm.
Where I grew up with
absolutely.
Mario 64, I was already, you know, let's see, how old was I when Mario 64 came out in what was it, 95 or 96? I was already 10 or 11 years old. Uh, so I mean, that was kind of like the imprint on me of
It's
like I
96.
remember a lot of the levels. Yeah. So I remember a lot of the levels from Mario 64 uh, pretty vividly. Where Mario Galaxy, there's also a lot more. So like it would be a little bit harder for
Yeah.
me. Uh, these don't stick out to me. Like whenever I asked you guys what your favorite galaxy was, I knew you guys would be able to point one out to me. I would struggle to do that without looking at a list, for sure.
I do think, yeah. I mean, I just meant to be an example of like, I know people have less than perfect thoughts of this game. I know they exist. I'm sure that I'm sure that there are people like even when you were talking about with 3D Mario's, there were people that were saying that were talking about how they liked other Mario games more. It would have been nice to have some of them, I guess.
Yeah, I was really hoping for a little bit larger turnout, but I mean, I feel like I got two pretty good ones right here talking about it. So
There you go. Oh, and if you're more curious, I do want to read this paragraph. Super Mario Galaxy has received critical acclaim, becoming the fourth highest rated game of all time on review aggregator Metacritic, with an aggregate score of 97 out of 100 based on 73 reviews. Before review aggregate website GameRankings shut down in December 2019, it was listed as the highest rated game with at least 20 reviews, having a 97.64% ranking based on 78 reviews. And that is the first paragraph under the reception heading in Super Mario Galaxy's
so
Wikipedia
it's
page.
fourth all time.
Metacritic, that's what Wikipedia says. Maybe it's out of date, but
That's what I was going to try to look just really quickly and see where it's
you
at.
could
Yeah,
cut stuff
it's
around
still a
because
97 on for Metascore and a
yeah,
9.0 for user score.
pretty well liked.
Yeah. So like I said, we might have had a hard time finding the one guy on Metacritic that gave this a bad review.
Yeah,
But
sorry I went past.
oh no,
Both
we're good.
Savannah and I had very poetic final thoughts, and then I had a bunch of other things to talk about.
That's how it always works around here. I mean, that's our outro. We're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna announce the next show, which will be Tears of the Kingdom. So
Hopefully, I'll be at that one too.
yeah, we'll have a good time talking Tears of the Kingdom to close out our Becoming the Hero series, unless they announce a new Zelda game that's not Ocarina of Time remake within the next month. This will
Hmm.
probably be the end of that series, and then I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm doing next. I've got a little bit of time, but we're gonna have a lot of fun talking Tears of the Kingdom. It's also a really good game. But that's it. We've wrapped it up. Mario's done. Thanks for listening to On Topic Retro. It's a part of the Retro Logic family of podcasts. If you would like to send in your personal experiences for the next show, but you don't have Discord, you can send them to ontopicretro@gmail.com. If you haven't joined our wonderful non-toxic RetroLogic Discord and you'd like to, you can visit retrologic.games for details on how to join for free. There's also a link in the show notes that will get you there as well, as well as a link to the website retrologic.games, so you don't have to find it. But yeah, no, come join the Discord. That's where you find all the details on fun contests that we do for Retro Rewind, like this one for Mario Galaxy. I didn't really outline the contest, being that there are 3 days left, and it's not a lot of time to get an entry. But if you do want to submit an entry, there is a lotto win for a prize, so you can win $10 of store credit of your choice between like eShop, PlayStation, Xbox, even Steam, as well as another $10 prize for anyone that submits a perfect score at this point of 242. Will be put into a drawing of their own to see who wins. And then there's also going to be a random prize winner picked of whoever is closest to the random number of stars that the Nintendo dads choose for that prize. So those are the 3 conditions to win $10 this go around. And we do these every month. So if you want to have fun and join in the conversation in Discord and be a part of the contest, and if you feel like come on the show and talk about it afterwards, you definitely need to be a part of our Discord, because that's where all that happens. And like I said, there's usually a link to the Discord there. So hop in and have fun. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye now.
Bye.
Oh, I
Bye.
did not have the music cued.